players.
Okay, boys, I need audio feedback. We need audio feedback.
Chair and join us at the Tavern Table. Welcome everybody to the Tavern Table. This is the pilot episode.
Let me know.
It's good to see you.
Audio.
Thank you so much for coming. My name is Odin, and I am your host. And joining me all the way from Korea at 3 a.m. on a Saturday is our community manager, Grayson. How you doing today, man?
Louder. Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, line holders? Let's go. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to doing something like this for the community for quite a while now. I know that everybody's been looking for a little bit more official information from Ironmace, so here you go. As you'll notice, this is the pilot episode, so we don't have the fancy bells and whistles just yet, but that we're planning to add down the line. So as long as things go well, you can expect to see more of this and even better. So before we get into all the juicy stuff that we have to show you guys today, we thought we'd do a little
Grayson's quiet. I mean, I don't know what I can do about Grayson.
And talk a little bit about some of the wins, some of the losses. SDF and Terrence themselves were, the first to say that they were not, the most satisfied with the season.
I have it as loud as I can put it, boys.
But that the, development priorities, kind of took precedent. They wanted to help develop the team and make sure that we were better handled, better equipped to make content in the future. So personally, I had a lot of fun with the early parts of the season, the mid parts of the season. Arena was a lot of fun. I ended up doing placements on all my characters. A little bit of jank in the first couple of weeks. People losing some gear. We had a couple of problems, but things eventually smoothed over. But we'll talk about all of that as we kind of progress through the show. At first, we wanted to talk a little bit about the sort of purpose of what the Tavern Table is.
Okay,
and,
good.
Grayson, you've been very vocal in the chat before, trying to communicate with players directly to see, what
I have not heard
like
anything from Grayson in so long.
Feedback for the season, how people are feeling overall, but we've never had an official platform like this before where we can kind of talk face to face with the community with information from the development team. So
right.
This is an opportunity for us to give you guys exactly that, to just give you kind of an insight into
why is Grayson a baddie?
Peel back all the layers. Some things have to stay quiet because we got to keep our secrets. But what's the experience been like with managing the community over time, Grayson? I know this has grown far beyond what anybody expected. SDF himself has even talked about it.
Yeah, well, honestly, working with the community at Ironmace has been so awesome. I would say starting at the very beginning, my first, when I joined Ironmace was at the very beginning of playtest 3. And I would say at the beginning, the game was getting some friction. But when playtest 3 started, I think is when it really started getting hot.
Yeah, crazy time, playtest 3.
The game just exploded. And when the servers got taken down,
yeah,
they had our back so hard. The amount of support on Discord was insane. I would say it's probably like a Discord miracle, if anything. I think without the support that we gained on Discord during that period, I don't think we would be in the same place we are right now.
True.
So honestly, the Dark and Darker community, even though, there's a lot of people that say it's like negative, but actually the energy on the Dark and Darker community is unlike any other.
Passionate.
Yeah,
passionate,
I mean,
for sure.
I'll never forget the whole dawn days. Easily one of the most exciting things I've ever seen a community do. My history with gaming is that I've done tournament organizer, I've done esports broadcasting, I've been involved in a lot of community building, and I think that the Ironmace, the Dark and Darker community, although can be very vitriolic at times, it's because of the passion for the game, and it makes us excited. So even when we see overwhelming negativity, it's because we know that people care about the game. We would rather see, a million negative comments than nobody talking about the game. So
that's true.
Yeah. So
as long as something's being done by that shit.
Current season, before we get into our teasers, we've got a ton of really cool stuff to show you guys that we're very excited about.
Okay, Odin, let's see it, baby.
A little bit before the stream, just kind of marveling at the progress that some of these things have made during development.
Oh god, I'm kind of nervous, bro.
I wanted to give a little bit of context to patch 69, which will kind of segue into the next thing that we want to talk about.
Ooh, okay.
And I think patch 69 was, obviously kind of poorly received. We learned our lesson for the second time not to mess with gear in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
2 times is enough. We're not going to do that anymore. the main point of patch 69, SCF talked about it a bit during a Q&A that he did on Discord, and mentioned that it was about trying to tune in the class balance to raise the floor of gear and lower the ceiling to try to bring people a little bit closer so that we could understand balance in a vacuum. You know, when you pick Warlock and you're playing Torture Mastery and you have no gear, it feels a world of different from when you're in full Torture Mastery gear, you're 330 move speed and nobody can catch you and you heal, you know, half your health in 2 seconds. It's very difficult to balance the classes no matter what kind of numbers we tweak or curves that we put on them when, you know, that we have all these different gear factors. So in a way, you know, patch 69 was an effort to try to reel that in. And then I think personally, I felt when we hit patch 69.1, we were at a much closer level to where the game should have been. It felt really good to me personally. I don't know how you felt about it, Grayson, but I think like if we tweaked a little bit and lowered the Squire gear stats, we were doing better. But it felt like it still removed a lot of the drive to get gear, and it gave people that were fresh off too much power. What did you think about 69.1?
Well, so honestly, starting from the beginning of that patch, I think the timing had a huge impact on the reception of it. So not only the timing,
I don't see how that wasn't seen. Yeah, the timing was so fucking bad.
When we did the follow-up patch after that, even though like you said, I think it was significantly in a better spot, it still wasn't really well received by many people. Honestly, I think just because of the timing.
Well, it came right after the huge loot buff that everybody was super excited to. So it felt like we got the shiny toy to play with. Like everybody's dropping legendaries off of nightmare mobs left and right, and then like a week later, it's like, okay, well the legendary gear is like not as good now. So yeah, I think you know, 69.2 was kind of bringing things back, and then we obviously moved on from there. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is that we were segueing here to talking about the new system that's coming up with this next wipe, which is socketing. And I got a little clip to show you guys here in just a second. But before we get into it, I just
okay, socketing. Okay.
When we heard about the early version of sockets, both Grayson and I were both kind of like, uh-oh. I don't know if this is a good idea. But after actually getting to see the newer version that's been implemented, I will say I think it is nothing but a positive gain.
And of course he's going to say that.
I think people are concerned about with socketing. Would you say it's fair to say that people are worried that socketing kind of like removes the gear chase?
Yeah, and actually I think people might be worried that it won't feel natural and it'll kind of be like a forced change. But I think one thing that made me so relieved when I saw the socket system is it feels super natural and it goes really well with the game. And honestly, I think it just makes it a better game.
Yeah, so I think one of the parallels that a lot of people have drawn, and this was mentioned on like a couple podcasts, and many people in the community have said the same thing, which is that socketing in a lot of other games, it just feels like kind of a tack on. Like you're basically just required to get like, okay, you have a best in slot stat for your system. You're just going to stack that stat as much as possible. There's not really a lot of thought to it. Whereas the socket system here is designed to sort of be like let's say you find, you know, a legendary weapon that's like almost perfect for your build. But one of the rolls is not quite what you'd want and you kind of want to change it. The socketing system will allow you to modify that gear to give you the stat that you're actually looking for. But it's important to note that, and this is something that we were discussing a little bit before the show, that the sockets are not going to be as good as if you found the gear in dungeon. At least that's where the design is sitting right now. So let's say you found, you know, a 4 on roll legendary falchion with weapon damage, fizz power, health, like everything you exactly want on that weapon. It's going to be better than if you found 3 out of 4 rolls on it and then socket it over.
Okay, that's good.
Get the same stats.
Okay,
so
that's good.
On-roll
that's really
that has,
good.
Like, the perfect stats for your build is still going to be a big upgrade over.
Wonder how it works with minted gear as well.
We'll pull up the clip real quick here so you guys can see what the sockets look like.
Show us. Let's see it. Okay. It's actually going to be a transition.
And I apologize. I think this is probably muted. It should be anyway. So real quick, obviously, you know, just for the sake of...
It is the gems. Oh my god.
Is still placeholder.
Oh my god. And it's moolah too. It's gold dump.
You guys might recognize this guy. He's been around
Holy
a few times before.
shit.
But yeah, you can basically select what you want.
Bro, put damage on that bad boy, bro.
You can select what you want. You need the required gem level. So since we have an epic weapon here, we'll go ahead and just let this loop.
So it gives you like a mid-roll, maybe.
Since you have an epic weapon here, you need epic tier gems in order to enchant the weapon.
You need the matching gem.
you'll see right now, like I said, the limit is actually you can potentially get the max roll 3 to 5 health, 1 to 3 fizz power.
Oh, you can.
When this actually goes live, that most likely will not be the case.
Okay.
We're still playing with the values.
Okay.
The dev team is
Okay.
still
Good.
kind of deciding if they want this to be as powerful as finding the gear, and I think the overall consensus is that doing that kind of takes away the fun of finding the gear yourself and the excitement of actually getting that awesome piece. So I think the objective here is to just give a way to modify gear, and it's not just weapons, armor, accessories, everything.
Way more gems are gonna drop,
So,
I imagine. Way more.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, I don't know, man.
Very Diablo-esque
with finding gems.
Very Diablo.
No, I think with the modified values, this is more of a way to like actually.
I like this.
If you find
I will
a piece
say I
that's
like
really
this.
exciting, but it's like, oh man, it's just this one roll that sucks. You can replace it.
I like this. I like this, bro. I do.
Yeah, I
do.
think the socket system acts as a great supplement for Dark and Darker, and it really is. It fits so naturally, in my opinion.
And also, I think it makes finding the gems that much more exciting when you actually find It's like, dude, I've got this Zweihander. I've been waiting for this thing for a while.
Those guys just wasting gold.
I gotta find a ruby to get the fizz damage on it. So pretty exciting stuff. I think the socketing system,
1 gem per item,
with
probably
the gear balance and changes in patch 69. The goal was to try to get everybody to kind of the same level, but I think
finding
the
treasures
socket system achieves that without forcing it. Like you mentioned, it's sort of an organic way for you to go, okay.
You could probably play the game without socketing ever.
Player
you could.
that has all the gear in the world raining from the sky, but I can still put together a good kit with the stats that I want for my build by just looking for gems and getting the good bases. So when you do find
anything that makes
like 1 or 2
more
really
exploring and looting better, I'm down for.
It's like, oh, finally, okay, I got this one thing. I just throw this gem on it. I'm good to go. My set's ready to go. I think the early version of it, I was like, man, is it just? Am I going to be spending every time I die? Am I just going to be sitting here buying gems and having to resocket stuff? It's like, no, there's really no point to doing that. You can get better gear by just buying the gear itself outright, but finding gear and then looking for gems to sort of upgrade it is definitely an alternative way to get yourself powered up. All right, so real quick, before we jump into our next thing, I want to talk about during the testing that we've done here, I was really excited when I got my hands on the random dungeon, and we're going to talk about randomized crypts here, and I guess I'm supposed to show you guys in just a moment, but I want to say earlier we mentioned, this season we didn't quite hit where we wanted to, but it was because the team was growing and like improving their workflows.
Last time you can make excuses though. Last time.
It's hard to explain it, but the game just feels better, and I had to ask people afterwards because I'm like, is this like a placebo thing? Am I going crazy? I'm like, does the game feel better to you guys? Is it like more responsive and snappy? And overwhelmingly, everybody that's tested has been like, yeah, it just feels better. I don't know how to explain it. Would you say it's kind of like? Would you agree? You've got a similar feeling from the new build?
In my opinion, the random dungeon really hits on that original dungeon crawl feel.
Okay.
And honestly, the fighting and everything might not ever be like that first time you ever swing as Zweihander, Falchion, you know what I mean? Because that's just, you were new to the game. But this brings back the dungeon crawling so much, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's like, to me, I think it's just the next level of Dark and Darker.
Yeah, something about the new crypts too, because of the way that they designed the randomized modules and layouts, it required them to kind of like optimize it a bit more, and it just like the game actually just feels like snappier and more responsive. So moving through these modules is like, it's crisper, it's really clean, the performance is really nice. I feel like they've done something with the lighting. I'm excited to show you guys some clips later that will include that, but real quick we'll just show
fucking
a highly requested
bro.
feature that we were able to confirm a little while ago, which is that the Fog of War.
Baby!
Dungeon without Fog of War. I mean, what's the point, right?
Oh, fuck yeah!
It's so awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. So here we've got 2 maps. We could show you guys. The bottom 2 pictures are one map. The top 2 pictures are one map. And as you explore, you'll start to reveal it. As you'll notice, when you look at these modules,
all
you'll
these are
see
different
that there
connecting.
are now some unique hallways and corridors and connections to
Oh shit! Let me
randomized
I need to turn
dungeon.
off ads.
There's
right
now
now.
like little nooks and crannies and rooms that used to be spawns that are now hallways, and it makes it feel completely different. Like spawning in, I genuinely had no idea where I was in certain points, which was an awesome feeling after playing 2,000 hours of this game and being in the crypts constantly. And if you look, you'll actually see that some of the modules are facing different directions. In the top picture there, we've got barracks at the bottom right. And that module is flipped to the right by 90 degrees, I think, or 45 degrees. Yeah, 90 degrees. This is something that the random dungeon will also have in it. You'll see that modules will have their exits and entrances facing different directions. You'll even see dead ends where they didn't exist before. It just creates this like whole new level of mystery when you literally have no idea what's in front of you until you look through that door and open it yourself.
Yeah, personally, I think the fog of war combined with the new random dungeon system just makes the dungeon crawler system feel super organic. It takes it back to what I think, the original feeling that a lot of players really miss and wanted more of.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah, this with the tournament is going to be crazy.
Now, Crypts is the only map that currently has the randomized dungeon, but the plan is eventually, in some way, shape, or form, every map to receive this treatment.
Oh, I'm so happy they're doubling down
fully
on that.
randomized, where there's additional layouts.
I'm rock hard right now. I'm bricked.
Some new feature that's planned for that map and how the layouts are randomized that will eventually take place, as far as we know. Of course, these things are subject to change, but that is the plan for now. So eventually, we will hopefully have all the maps.
This brings back the fear, man.
Which is really, really exciting stuff. It's hard to explain. I wanted to show a clip, but it's showing some like assets that weren't quite ready yet. Where I spawned in Cistern at the southeast, and that's the like kind of swamp area in the crypts with all the zombies and a bridge through the middle of it. There's a new set of rubble that created a walkway that didn't exist before that led to a platform that I could walk on and walk into.
Wait, so the modules themselves are randomized?
A skeleton archer with the health shrine, and it just blew my mind the second I walked through. I was like, oh my god, this room feels completely different now, because
I thought it was just the way they connected
back, and if you fall down here, you can still get out, and it's not totally ruined.
Okay, we'll see. Okay.
Just that alone, like I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then I ran to the next module. I was like, wait, this was never here before. This is like a whole new room. So it does, like, I think some people were worried, like, the really good players are still just gonna spawn rush and break down doors and run through the dungeon, but genuinely, especially in high roller, you can't do that. You're gonna get yourself killed. It's like you think you know where you're going, and then you back yourself in a corner with some mobs that weren't there before, and you're like, uh-oh. So we're gonna talk about something that I know everyone is waiting for. And before we get into this, Grayson, I'd like you to share some insights on what the development process was like for Sorcerer. Because it's a really interesting class with a lot going on for it. And it feels very different.
Surely we see something too.
Wizard. I think people were worried that it's just going to be a better wizard, and like, why would you ever play Wizard again? After actually playing it myself, I can tell you for sure that's not the case.
It's probably the case.
So quick insight on Sorcerer, without ruining too much of the surprise, is for me right now, the only thing I've been literally playing as Wizard for almost 6 months now. I haven't really touched any other class. Usually when I play one class, I only stick to that, and I just like mastering that class, right? Well, a lot of people, like you said, were concerned that Sorcerer and Wizard were going to be very similar. When I jumped on to Sorcerer from Wizard, it is so different that it's like a mind. It messes with your head a little bit. As for how you actually play it, right?
Yeah.
It is totally different, and I can't tell you why without ruining, but as soon as you get on Sorcerer the first time, you'll immediately understand. If you played Wizard, going from Wizard
I'm going to call Cap, but we'll see.
Very, very tricky, right?
Yeah. I'm going to call Cap, though.
As for the spells, totally different. In my opinion, Wizard has a lot of upfront damage still.
Yeah, it like unleashes a lot of bursts and just constantly unleashing fire and lightning and stuff.
So, just without ruining anything, because you guys are gonna have
ruin it, ruin me.
So awesome! There's so much new stuff coming. Basically, the Sorcerer is not like the Wizard at all. The spells, very, very different compared to almost any Dark and Darker spells in the game right now.
Okay.
I think everybody's going to be super impressed. The original mindset of Wizard and Sorcerer, same? No, not at all.
Yeah, so there's one thing we can talk about because it was revealed in previous Q&As. the wizard operates on cooldowns instead of spell charges. So
Yeah.
like the warlock who pays health and has no downtime because they have to be effective with their health pool, which is essentially their resource pool. The wizard and cleric have spell charges, which means there is a limit to what they can do in a single fight before they have to reset. The sorcerer does not have those limitations, but it does have cooldowns. So like you mentioned, the wizard has all this like
what does he do while he's in cooldown? That's what I want to know.
And they can unleash it in a really short window and just do a lot of damage and really like lock down a front line or just push in and devastate a team. The sorcerer is a little bit more controlled because of the cooldown aspect, each spell having its own cooldown. We're not going to reveal everything here, but we do have some really cool clips to show you guys. And we'll just jump. You know what? We'll just get right into it. I know everybody's waiting, but first let's open up with our first clip here. This one was a lot of fun when I found out about this. So you might not be.
Oh my God! He looks so good.
At the cost, being able to launch you right up into the sky. So, I had a whole pack of zombies.
Oh, that looks sexy! Oh, that looks sexy!
Let's get in it.
That's also a randomized module as well. Look at it.
A connection in the dungeon that didn't exist before.
Oh!
Layouts as we look through.
Okay, that's a weird looking spell. This is so cool though. Raising the wall.
Secret. But we do have a really cool surprise for you in the third clip. But before we get to that, let's show off the second clip.
Oh, that looks clean. Balls!
So right here, you guys can see. We've got
oh my
spells.
God!
This was talked about during early development with the sorcerer reveal they cast with both.
He's conjuring shit too.
To create we're not going to show off all of them. We'll leave some of them a secret. But yeah, we've got a sorcerer.
Holy shit! This guy knows conjuration, bro.
A bolt combining to a fire and an ice spell, and then a little ice spell you might notice in the right hand there gives it a buff. You see when you pull out, similar to Ignite, you've got a new...
okay, so it's not a weapon, okay, you just... It's like
Ignite.
Stuff. Okay.
I found it was quite powerful. I'll say, as you watch these clips, keep in mind that I'm wearing a Squire kit in this clip, so no scaling whatsoever, really just using like, I'm not sure this is the way Squire kit. It's very weak.
It looks like a different spell.
So if the damage seems a little low, that's why. But third clip, this is the one I'm really excited about.
Okay. Oh, this looks cool, bro.
Looking forward to hearing about some additions to the clips and what's coming with the new banner layout. So we've only shown a little bit. I want to give you guys a taste of something that we're very excited to reveal, and I know people have been asking for it for a really long time. So let's take a look.
Let's go.
Oh, would you look at that? Who's that guy? Is it the Lich?
Wait.
Hang on a second.
What?
Is it the Lich in the Crypts? Oh, baby.
Finally!
Yeah, so we got some pretty cool spells here that were showing.
Oh, look at the fucking meteor!
Find out for yourself, but oh, what's this? Yes, the Sorcerer is supremely cool.
God!
I'm gonna tell you right now, walking away from from testing this internally and then everybody getting a chance to see it, everyone was like, no way, this class is so cool, and then everyone finding
water ball
boss on the Crypts was like, dude,
they like spread fireball, a wind of gust for a knockback, a nuke.
Just the lights, so nice.
He has so many spells, bro.
I feel like I'm seeing
That'd be so good for door combat. Dude, you cast the fire at the door
it's
too.
Hard to explain how I felt. Literally, both things I found out at the same time. I was like, okay,
not going to replace the wizard.
I also found out with the bosses in the Crypts. Are you serious? So, when I tell you guys that this upcoming season with the randomized Crypts, that like it's a much bigger deal than
shit,
you think.
guys!
I'm serious. This is such a cool addition to the game.
It's looking
really
pretty good. I can't tell if I'm just
random
getting too hyped or not.
For all of the maps, because it's just going to completely change the way the game feels. It really, like you mentioned before, hammering in on that
Everyone's
idea
playing Source,
that it just brings back the mystery and excitement of exploring.
Yes.
You never know what's around the corner. You never know what's next. You could walk into a corner of the map thinking you're safe, trying to escape somebody and find yourself in a dead end.
Yep.
Or you could chase someone into a terrible situation where you're in a choke point and they can take advantage of it. It really does give you pause for thought in how you play the dungeon now.
Yes, and personally, I know they always say, like, you know, don't make the players' expectations too high. But on a personal note, I think this is one of the most content-packed and unique Dark and Darker patches we've ever done.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Like, yeah, SCF
It's been a little bit dry lately, so I mean, maybe by default.
Yeah, he's usually one to temper player expectations. And of course, I just want to let everybody know some of these things, they are subject to change. These are things that are planned to come up for wipe, and they're going to be in for launch. But we're always still tweaking things up to the last minute to make sure they feel as good as possible. So, take everything you see with a grain of salt, but it's still really exciting stuff nonetheless.
Goddamn.
There's one more cool thing that I'd like to show off before we move into kind of our community side announcements things. I hope everybody has enjoyed all of the interesting things that we're adding so far. But this morning, we got a message from SDF. They whipped up something special for us. And Grayson, I'll let you talk about this. We're going to switch over to a quick little slideshow.
Daddy SDF,
show me! I've also been waiting for that's been on the horizon for a while now, and that is the Shipgrave part of the Blue Maelstrom.
Huh? The what
so
now?
Tell me a little bit about what it was like playing on this map, man.
So
the what now?
I still remember the first time I ever played on this map, and I will say it was like, wow, we are going in the right direction.
Before we go too far with this, I just want to let everybody know this is still in development. This is not coming with the wipe. This is sometime planned in 2025. So. We're not releasing this with the wipe. It's still a work in progress, and they wanted to let us know that some of the lighting and tone may change, but the overall atmosphere and design of this is really going to be similar to the final release.
Okay.
But go ahead. Sorry to cut you off, Grayson.
Yeah, no problem. So honestly, right when I stepped into this map for the first time, it was beautiful. It felt honestly, it felt cool. Like the map team did such a good job of making this map. They really made it into going into a completely different atmosphere. It's basically,
still fits
I won't say going into a different game, but as an adventure game, one thing that felt weird about the Ice Cavern and the Howling Crypts was I always felt like when I was going in there, the atmosphere was very different, but the shape kind of felt like crypts. But when I stepped into this map for the first time, I was
looks very
like, wow,
different in a good way.
So new,
but same,
and so good.
One thing I noticed about looking at these images here is that there's a lot of verticality.
Big booba mermaids.
I really wanted in Dark and Darker maps, just looking at this with the underwater aspects. There's all these platforms, and you could see there's
there has to be a Kraken boss. There has
just
to
in
be.
This image alone. There's so much verticality and mobility available on this map that it just gets me really excited about it. I think, what was your experience? Have you gotten into the underwater segments? Yeah, I know we might be venturing into territory of things we can't talk about, but I don't know if there's been any early access to the underwater areas or any kind of early versions of swimming.
Yeah, so without going into territory we can't talk about, I will just say, as a water map, and it's 90% water, right?
90.
You should expect swimming in Dark and Darker.
90?
Yeah, I think Terry and SCF have talked about it before. They mentioned that is most likely going to be a thing that gets added. Obviously there's some things that we can't talk about.
Whoa.
But I don't want to speak for SCF. I know that he mentioned that he's interested in adding things like fishing and stuff down the line. So who knows what could possibly come with this map. It is a ways off.
Yeah, the ladders are maybe for mobs. Actually, maybe mobs.
Real quick,
maybe.
Grayson, if you don't mind, if you want to just take this away for a moment, I've got a message that I need to answer real quick. So
sure.
I'll if you'd like, I can go ahead and bring back up this Sorcerer clip so that you can talk a little bit more about what the development has been like for Sorcerer.
Yeah. So awesome. So I think when first working on
Grayson's so quiet compared to the. Sorry, Grayson, what was that?
Always it's like, how can a sorcerer be different? And I think designers did a really great job.
You can't even hear him.
In differentiating these classes.
So he doesn't have a weapon out when he's casting, bro. It's just his hands.
I really like one.
Holy fuck, man.
How can I say this without completely spoiling the class, right? The limitations are very, very different than what you would get from playing a wizard. So if you're going into this,
No one's playing
basically
wizard, bro.
expecting that it's going
No
to
one's
be
playing wizard next
just a
fight,
better
bro.
wizard, it's really not going to be.
Yeah, better is maybe not the right term, right? It's different. It's
cooler. It's more cool.
feels
That's all that
fundamentally
matters. Doesn't matter if it's
different
better or
to
worse.
the
It's
wizard.
cool.
Again, the cooldown
At the start, anyway.
being
People,
a part of how the class is designed really just like makes you feel like you've got to be more conscientious of your toolkit.
It looks
You
like
have
it's
to
more
think about how you're gonna use your
sustained
spells,
damage
especially with the
opposed to
combinations
burst,
that are
for
available.
sure.
As you see in the clip, we summon up a little firewall there. That's just one of several combinations that the sorcerer has. There are a bunch that we will leave for everyone to uncover, but it's like you really gotta use your brain. You gotta turn on the thinker to get the most out of
I love
this
how they
class.
say
And
it's
I
a
think that's exciting,
cooldown based
'cause,
class,
I
and then he
think
has 1 million
some
spells.
of the classes might feel a little
Just always cast him, bro.
Like,
what do you mean?
that this was just going to be like the class has giga nukes on a 5-second cooldown. We're just going to keep spamming those. No, it's really a creative class.
It
As
looks
you saw,
cool,
there
guys.
was
It looks
an
really
image
cool.
there was a clip of doing like a little rocket boost with the eruption spell. That is
Damn,
just
that looks cool.
one of the many things that the sorcerer has in the toolkit. And I apologize, guys. I'm just vamping here on the side for a second because we're trying to get something a little special for you organized here. If you don't mind holding on for just a moment.
Oh, we don't mind, baby. Don't you worry.
Let's go.
there's one more thing.
Okay.
We're trying to get a special appearance from Terry and SDF. Who were not
Oh,
originally going to be available
shit.
for this
Terror
because of
Bear
the
and
time that he was in
SDF,
Korea.
baby.
Which, thank you again, Grayson, for being here for this. Uh-oh. Guys, we lost him. I created a new phone call. There we go. There's Terry.
Terror Bear!
Sorry
Terror
about that.
Bear!
Okay, guys. So originally we were not planning to have Terry and SDF available. I don't know if because it's late at night. I'm assuming you guys are not going to have your cameras, and that's okay. We'll just leave.
3 a.m. in Korea. Holy.
Dude,
Terry's just shirtless.
Welcome on to the show, Terry. Thanks for being here. I'm trying to get SDF
Terrence
added.
just goes on cam
he's in front
fucking
of us.
shirtless in his boxers, bro.
No
Hey.
worries.
What's going on, huh? Is something special going on right now?
Oh no, we're just having a chat. Nothing.
Why do you
crazy,
say like
just-
that?
we're
Right,
just
meow?
talking.
What's going on right meow?
All right, I went ahead and added SDF. Appreciate that. So, guys, yeah, this is the pilot episode, and in the future, we plan to expand this a bit more, get Terry and SDF on at the start of the show. We'll probably do this at a different time, but it is super late at night in Korea, so we really appreciate you guys showing up. Welcome in, SDF. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. I'm a little tired.
Yeah, I can imagine why.
They sound
It's
tired.
now almost 4 a.m. for you guys.
Water map might be later in the wipe or potentially the wipe after. They haven't said, I don't think.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is awesome. Great job.
We turn you guys up so everybody can
It
hear.
Yeah,
would not
crank
be
'em.
the pilot episode if you guys did not show up.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing. It's great to have you guys here. So, what do you think so far? I mean, the reception thus far for Sorcerer, and I think everyone's really surprised to see the Lich in the Crypts. This is something that people have been asking for a really long time, and it really shakes up the dynamic of the map to have the boss here. How are you guys feeling about this coming up on the new season?
People are going to be working together here.
so-
at the start.
For the sorcerer, I think we're gonna SDF. He's the one that's, he can give a lot of input onto that side. But for me, with the random dungeons, I think
God, he sounds
it's
hot.
kind of going
That's
back
that
to our
sleepy
roots.
voice.
The dungeon crawling experience. That was something that's kind of sorely missed, especially playing
shit!
through this season. I played pretty, this season I think I played over like 200 hours. So this is one of the most I was able to play.
What a
And,
nerd, bro. 200
It just
hours?
got way too predictable. Everything became static. It was almost like like long time.
Biggest
20 years
problem in the
ago
game.
For me playing
One
the
of them.
same big game hunters map on like StarCraft. It's like you load in, okay, I'm at this location, I have my set, pattern stuff. And so that's not our original that kind of feeling of mystery that we wanted to instill when we were first starting this project. And we're like, okay, there's something missing, that part of the magic is gone. And so I think, you know, originally we didn't have this plan to do the random dungeons this season, and it was a kind of a midway pivot. But
A
man,
good
that
pivot.
first time
If it's not
you
fucked.
got it running and you got in there, and like these well-established modules that's just like part of your vein.
God damn.
But you look, you open that door, and you feel that mystery again.
That wall is
Oh,
crazy
it's hard to
for
describe
tech,
that,
bro.
right? And then the other part is, you know, there's these kind of design decisions that we were talking about, and originally we started with the
Seems like you
having
don't
that kind
slow
of,
down
the
when
Dark
cat.
Swarm as
Wait,
the
holy
VR
shit!
circle,
Yep.
and we removed that, right?
Wait,
2 seasons
what?
ago. And I think there was a lot of benefit that came from that, but the removal of that dynamic, you know, the circle, you didn't know where it's going to
Do you
end.
not slow
right?
down
So
when
that's why
casting?
you had a lot of variety, and that kind of led you to forced you to kind of explore the dungeons to certain areas.
Yeah,
And,
guys, people are still
with
gonna
the
play
removal of
Wizard,
that,
guys.
It's like, okay, now it went the opposite, and it made it so memorizing and having that kind of standardized pattern made more sense, right? And rewarded you for that. But again, it took away from that mystery. But now you get thrown into this random dungeon, and first of all, you don't even know where the exits
Oh
are.
man, this
You
looks
don't
so
know
good.
where the extracts or the down portals are. So you're forced to start opening doors, go to the next one, clear it out, and not know like what's around that corner, and having that feeling return after, you know.
I wonder if the Lich
after
will be
your
placed randomly in the map, or if it'll always
stagnated,
be in the center somehow.
experience now. It was like, dang, that was pretty refreshing.
Yeah, we so in the darkest hour that we did last week with Soma over on his channel, we talked a little bit about how one of the frustrations that players had in the previous season was like Crypts specifically had a lot of these really like it was really predictable how the map would play out because the spawns were fixed, the layout was fixed, and everybody knew the routes that everyone would take, so the fights would always happen in the same place. And the simple introduction of randomizing the maps completely flips that on its head, and you now have to be very careful about every step that you take. As we were talking about earlier before you guys joined, you could find yourself
like
at a
that,
dead end without
personally. I think
realizing
most
it,
people
thinking
do.
like, oh, I know my way through this module. Wait a second, there's not a door here. I'm stuck.
Yes. So, I mean, so I'll give you my personal thoughts. Like, after that, you know, after we got it working pretty well, my thought was, so I'm kind of at like this, my heart is torn a little bit because we're at the start of the season, we're only going to have the crypts ready with the random dungeons.
Right.
So for me was, oh, sorry, no, my daughter woke up, but I'm sorry, but for me, honestly, after playing the random dungeons on the crypts, I was like, oh no, I don't want to play any other map.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Ruins. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Also, boys, okay, I don't know if he's on maybe a custom dev build,
So,
but when you have no HUD, by the way,
last, like,
you cannot
week and a
change
half,
spells.
Okay. All that's been
Typically,
going through
when
my
you
mind
disable the HUD,
what's
you
the
can't change
way
your
that we could
spells.
start
So there's a
preparing the
chance that
other
this guy might not be a spell wheel.
you know, biomes, I guess.
Possibly.
So, to get that random dungeon system,
I doubt it, but possibly not.
ready for the other biomes as soon as possible. I think, you know, that's going to be a challenge for me and the dev team to figure out how we're going to approach that, I guess, for this upcoming season. But yeah, Crypts is back being my favorite biome.
I mean,
Yeah, it could be a dev build, but
most
there's
people
just
would
no
tell you
UI.
Crypts has been their
Could be.
favorite since the very beginning, but I'm curious to hear from SCF what your thoughts are on the random dungeons so far. And basically, you know, like I mentioned before, the addition of bosses to the Crypts is another huge shakeup that I think a lot of people weren't expecting. So how are you feeling coming up on Wipe here with the randomized Crypts and everything?
What?
What?
Sorry.
Little fast.
Yeah. So sorry. So with the bosses being added to the crypts, that was a really big update that people have been asking for quite a while now, but I don't think anybody was expecting it to come with this update. And now with the randomized dungeon, it really makes Crypts feel like an evolution of the Dark and Darker experience. So how are you feeling about the Crypts and the bosses going forward with this wipe?
Honestly, I have no idea with the random dungeon because I'm not a fan of random dungeon, but but it works so well and it was so fun. But I did not escape at least once. I did not escape
Wait.
when I test that because
Oh.
No,
there's so
he's
hard to
lying.
find. Yeah. At once I escaped. I think. Yeah.
I want to escape.
I abandoned my teammate.
The rest of his team. It's like, I finally found this extract.
Yeah, that's something I think
Well,
people
guys,
aren't expecting about the random dungeon is that now you are actually going to have to find your extracts.
Oh my god, that's so much
so
better. I just realized.
I
I
want
love
to
that personally.
Sorry. Firstly, sorry about
People
my
can't
English,
just
but,
be pussies.
and, people keep asking about what is this game? Is this a PvP game or the PvE game? But it's not only PvP or the PvE game. We want all that, Yeah.
Right.
Then we are, yes, we in this season now season Y5. Then we almost. I think we focus to arena so much. I think, but really I wanna finish the PvP side, because I wanna focus to PvE side. Then next season we focus to that.
So you're saying
maybe Terry will more.
Yeah. So I think,
accurately.
yeah. I mean, so I know because we had this discussion for a long time is that one of the big criticisms for this season. Again, I do apologize that we didn't have a lot of big content, for this current season dropping. But our biggest, win for us internally was the launch of the arenas. But that one of the big criticisms is, hey, why are you guys only focusing on the PvP? It's like, hey, is the direction of Darker and Darker this is kind of like a full battle arena game, and that's not the actual full vision that we want to accomplish. So our game is, we do believe that there's multiple pillars that we're trying to, sorry, we're trying to, satisfy different types of personalities, and
Right.
so that does include the PvP focus aspects of the game. And this season with the arena, we did focus on the PvP because it was a economic decision for us, and
it made sense, all things
PvP,
considered.
If we could get
did.
that part,
what else could they have done?
fulfilled.
I don't know.
It's
Takes
one of
less
the
time.
stuff that when we had our limited resources, where we could instill a lot of variety.
Right.
And so, yeah, so the main message.
This
is
shit's
that
way cooler.
We
though.
don't want people that are looking for other aspects of enjoyment from our game, like the dungeon crawling, the PvE.
Guys, don't be
achievements.
addicted to Terry, bro. It's
Oh,
4
sorry.
a.m. in Korea.
I'm trying to put my daughter to sleep. She's big now, so she's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
I'm getting winded.
And he's holding his child.
Can you just explain about our 4 vision?
Yeah. So
that will help for understanding.
Yeah.
Well, so real quick, let's give a little context to that for everybody who's here. So I know, in the early days of Dark and Darker, there were a lot of talks about it being like a 10-year game, and that there were all these pillars that were the focus of.
This is our last wipe, guys.
For
Unlike you.
fulfilling different interests of the player base. There was the PvE, the PvP, how those two things combined, the extraction aspect of things. So as SDF mentioned, these pillars are really important to the way the game is developed.
fuck?
And just because this arena season, which in my opinion, I was really excited about arena, just because the focus was on arena this time around doesn't necessarily mean that those other pillars have fallen by the wayside. Would you say that they're still equally important, and can you talk a little bit about them?
So exactly, yeah. So I mean, so when we're talking about the other pillars, right? We talk about like these 4 pillars. This actually comes from this Professor Bardo, Richard Bardo, who's like one of the first guys that, like, he's the guy that created this like online gaming.
Is that the Ultima Online developer?
No, that's Richard Garriott.
Richard Garriott,
Richard Bardo, yeah. So Professor Bardo, he's the one that did it's called Multi-User Dungeon, MUD. It's like a text-based online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But basically, he talks about the 4 main types of archetypes for people that play online or like play for virtual world. And so abstractly you say that there's the PvP players, the PvE explorers, the achievers, and then the last
Hey, he's getting a workout,
뭐 PVP, PVE, 그리고 어치버, 그리고 소셜라이저.
And then the socializer, right? And so, I forgot the one that I get thrown, the type of player that I'm mostly. But so our goal is to find ways to satisfy all 4 of those type of archetypes, right? Mm-hmm. And so this season, it was like a conscious decision. Hey, we're gonna focus on the PvP because we were so resource, thin, and that's the one that we felt was, hey, this is the one that has the most low-hanging fruit. And so, but now that we're feeling pretty satisfied with it, is that the other aspects are just as equally as important for us, and that's why, this season is we're trying to go back to giving that kind of feeling of mystery and magic for exploration, right? And that's why we're like, okay, hey, let's try to figure out how to do, what is it, the random dungeons.
Yep.
And then the last thing is, so this is the one part that we're not sure it's going to be ready for the launch, but actually after the recent test, we're seeing a lot more optimism. I'm seeing a lot more optimism. It's like a continuous dungeon. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes it like a semi-consistent session. So it feels, where
Hope
you
they
have
talk
people
more
coming
about
in
this.
dynamically. And oh my God, that feels different too.
Yeah, so real quick, let's actually talk about that continuous dungeon.
Okay, here we go.
We'd like to bring that up. And
this is the gray area.
Grace and I were getting ready to do the show. We weren't really sure where we were at with that, and we're not quite in the position to talk about it. But I know that recent internal QA, there was some testing being done with that. What is that system like, yes, and how does it feel?
Well, so yeah, it's basically I wish we had like another couple of days to prep for that, and then we could have actually had some, better than just placeholder stuff that we could have showed off. But it's basically you could you load into a dungeon in real time. You don't all start at the same time, and so
no cues.
It basically makes the dungeon feel more unknown, right? And so sometimes you load into the dungeon midway, and this is the weirdest feeling because you hit the start button. Also, logistically for us and technically, is that it makes it very much easier. Much easier for us to make the servers feel or sessions feel populated. We could populate sessions. I guess it puts less strain, and we could support making the dungeons feel more lived in or more just more populated, with having a smaller base population. And so this, I think, the other thing is it scales really well for us too. Is that you hit enter and you get loaded into the map, and you're like, wait a second. You start in this room, and I was like, I started in that room with the pyramid with the death skulls,
right?
A bunch of those, and you start in that little room in the corner, right? So I was like, okay, I'm ready to go, but the door was already open. I was like, oh, I'm gonna report this as a bug, but then I stepped outside, and then you see a corpse of another player. What the heck? What? And then you're like, oh wait.
Not sure how I feel about it.
There's like a line of death skulls. What's going on here? It's like it took a little bit for it to register. Like, oh wait a second, and then you're trying to follow the footsteps. Okay.
Yeah, they'll need to make the dungeon timer longer then for sure.
Detective mystery kind of thing. I was like, oh, this is cool. So again, this is something I'm working on. We can't guarantee that this is 100% going to be ready in time for the start of the wipe, but I think this is something that I'm feeling pretty optimistic about.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's
returning back to that kind of dungeon crawling feel. So that's kind of the goal here for this upcoming season. Is that PvP was last season's goal, and again, this is just a start. That's what we want.
Spawn camping will 100% be an issue.
Talking about is, okay,
no way that they can not have that be a thing at all.
That's a huge. That's a big investment of resources. That at least we could do stuff system-wise that we think we could at least start giving some content back to bring back some of that magic.
Mm-hmm. So, Terry, I have a question. Do you think combination of these changes coming in is what's going to bring us Dark and Darker to the next level?
I see. So
next level? No, we just passed.
Oh my god,
I think SDFI, we talk about it. We're still very early in on this, this whole kind of journey for what Dark and Darker is. And we're, like, I know SDF, he has a very...
They were going to explain the vision, but then they stopped, I think.
What he wants this project to be, but it doesn't have all, that vision doesn't have every single little detail down yet. And we're still on that journey of trying to figure out exactly what those details are. And so it's still exploration. And like when we have that early access tag on our product, we really do mean it's early access, because we're trying to still figure out, hey, what exactly...
Oh, you can use multiple gems on an item.
Can I just say, I think one thing, like, okay, so from the perspective of somebody who joined this company after playing the game for a really long time, but also somebody who has been... I've worked with a lot of different like early access games to do tournaments and stuff. A lot of early access games, they're in development for 3-4 years before they even go to early access, and they've got like alpha builds. Dark and Darker started development in like mid 2022, right?
Yeah, well, in earnest,
mid 2022.
Not mid. So that's when we launched.
But earlier than that.
We started at the end of 2021.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, it's now maybe 3 years, right?
Right. So it actually released into early access for the public to play. Like a year and a half, 2 years into development. So at least from my perspective, and obviously, I work here, so nobody's holding a gun to my head to tell me to say this, but from my perspective, compared to a lot of early access games, this kind of development, I think I'm just really impressed with what the team has managed to accomplish since like we came back to Steam and then up to now. Actually playing this on the test server and getting to feel, I said this before, I genuinely feel like the game just feels like more responsive. I don't know if there were updates to the engine.
It looks like the world is finally evolving, which
system is really optimized, and Crypts, it just runs really well, but the game feels snappier and more responsive, and it does to me, like I said, it kind of does feel like it's a sort of evolution. I know you guys like to temper expectations and not go, yeah, this is the future of Dark and Darker.
Yeah, no, please, yeah, listen, for us, we're still on, we're still in the first half of that race, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, like I shared this with Grayson today. I was like, man, if you asked me 2 weeks ago how the update will go, I was like, oh man, this is, you know, 50-50. I don't know.
God damn it.
Each day in the last 2 weeks,
There's just some things they shouldn't say,
the
bro.
playtesting
Terrence,
tunnel,
you're too open, bro.
man,
Stop
my
it.
hopes go up each day that we're
Okay, he
playtesting
kind
it.
of saved it.
Each day it just keeps on going up and up and up. And today I was like, okay, I feel really, you know, hopeful now because I'm having a blast playing these kind of, you know, and that sense of mystery is kind of coming back, right? And so that's the thing. It's like, okay, you know, we still have a lot of tweaking and stuff for the initial release of these big, you know, tempo fit features. And so, like random dungeons, this is just a start. But the thing is, for us now, is seeing that it's already fun to play, and it's, you know, this initial version that gives us a lot of hope for like, oh, we see the potential for this platform. So I'll just give you one example with the random dungeons. Is that before we were kind of technically kind of limited of how we could start introducing new modules before the random dungeon system. With this new random dungeons, it's like, hey, if we build one single like 32 by 32 meter module, we could put that in, you know, the next patch. Whereas like,
oh, you're saying like just add like have somebody build an entirely new module and then just drop it into the random rotation.
Yeah, like now it's gonna start giving us all this extra freedom, and so like it just opens up all these branches for like, oh my god, all these different ideas. So like SDF and I was like, hey, not just like, you know, technically, just like, you know, how to do business. We're like, hey, if this works out, man, you know, like new content, we could, you know, like we could start looking into like the Steam Workshop or like leveraging the community and say, is there ways that we could have the community start contributing?
Wow.
You know, modules. So again, this is so, you know, so much in the infancy. But the thing is that the fact that we could even start having these kind of conversations because we have the system, you know, that we didn't have 3 weeks ago, and now we do, and we could start seeing these kind of potentials. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, okay, so we're still planting these seeds for the future, but it's like, hey, so these things that we started planting seeds that we're working on right now, even in baby form right now, is like, hey, it's pretty exciting.
Well,
and so
the idea of having workshop support where players can help produce maps is something I've heard in recent community discussion many
hold
times.
on.
So to hear even that, you know, it's not necessarily a promise thing or that it will come, but the fact that idea is even on the radar is really exciting, and I've already seen a lot of people pretty excited.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of spaced out when Terrence was talking there for a moment.
Yeah, so I mean, again, you know, my job is we have to temper people's expectations.
Of course.
So this is version 0.1. If you look at, you know, I'm
turn it up. This is max volume on everything.
You know,
on everything.
You've seen our confluences when we start like a lot of these features. There's a lot of stuff on our design board that is like so and so feature version 0.1, 0.2. You know, because we're going incrementally, and so but. Man,
actually, wait, maybe
for random dungeons 0.1, this feels pretty damn good, and you know, it's like right now we can only support certain, you know, we're limited in the size and shape of the random dungeons, but again, because this is the first version,
who cares? It's better.
We're already like thinking ahead to.
It's better.
Oh my god, we could start experimenting with different kind of shapes, you know. Like, yeah, so it does feel very hopeful for us because we start seeing these kind of future possibilities, and so I think that's the thing that's exciting for me is, hey, next week you guys, the community itself, get to partake in seeing that what we've been able to enjoy internally for the last 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. So you guys heard it here first. Circle maps.
Hmm.
We talked about that.
Yeah. I think it would be
Seriously, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
But we weren't,
Circle
we weren't even able
module.
to fathom something like that 3 weeks ago, and we literally, one of our main designers that helped us work on
Sorcerer looks
Random
very
Dungeons
good.
is
Yep.
like this Tuesday, this week Tuesday, he came up. He's like, "That's my goal. I want to start making like something like a circle map."
Is that
I was like,
without
okay.
saying who it is? Is that who I think it is?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It was me, Smile.
And so yeah, it's enabling us to have these kind of conversations that we couldn't even think of having, just a couple of weeks ago. And I think that's the thing that's making us more exciting. And that's why I want to say, please temper your expectation, because these right now is like we're at this exciting brainstorming stage, but hopefully when we get this original version out there, the community themselves can also kind of start seeing that potential.
It really
But the
does not look like
actuality
much
of it is
like width is
the
explored
starting
in the
base,
Fog of War when you move,
it's still
which
pretty
is good.
solid,
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this is all really exciting stuff. I think hearing that the development process has led to increased confidence in the ability to deliver new functions is something that everybody can get excited for. It's kind of just a W across the board.
Yeah.
I think there's always times where people are like,
He's
well,
a
is this
handsome
the
guy,
only
bro.
focus of Dark and Darker? Is this where they're going to set the limit for themselves? But hearing about the fact that the game is just continuously growing in potential while being developed is very exciting. As a player, it's just I really look forward to I'm just so excited for Random Dungeon to go live. Like it's like you said, like legit, it's the only thing I just want to play Crypts. I just want to be on Crypts all the time, 24/7.
Yeah, fuck any other map,
SCF,
bro.
you mentioned that you
When
know,
that
you're
shit
not
comes
a
out,
big
like,
fan of randomized dungeons, but you said it felt really good to play on. And do you think that sort of catering to the exploration player has been at the center of designing the random dungeon? What was the idea of creating a random dungeon instead of making like a huge static dungeon that changes just a little bit, like maybe one or two rooms move around? Do you think that the idea of a random dungeon accomplishes that better versus like a big dungeon that changes a little bit?
Maybe he fell asleep.
Better
we
be
were doing a
snoring,
lot of
bro.
talking. I don't know if SDF's still with us.
It was a very, very long week at work.
Yeah.
Honestly, when we were first came to the podcast, I was like,
Oh, he's here. He's here.
okay, good.
He's here.
Okay.
He's here.
Yeah.
I was typing something.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
okay. Oh yeah.
He didn't hear the question at all,
All right,
bro.
so SCF's a little busy, so we'll come back to that question another time. So, yeah, I mean, there's a few things that we weren't sure that we could talk about, but SCF just gave us a little bit of context here if Terry wants to talk about it.
Yeah. So, and I did kind of mention it now, with the new thing that we're testing recently with the continuous matchmaking. So, again, internally we were doing I think random dungeons. Now we have a really solid base, and I've already talked about like the potential we see in it. Let's get out there with version 0.1, and then we're gonna get that feedback, and then just recently we started testing the continuous dungeon. I wish that we had something that we could show there, but I just want to give I gave you one of my initial impressions of like starting it there, and we're pretty excited for that.
That's the only thing I'm unsure about.
I think it's gonna also open us up to start exploring a little bit, and it's gonna improve the quality of the matchmaking. So our goal is like having these it opens up freedoms for us, right? Is because now we could support having sessions with having a smaller minimum pool. So I think when continuous dungeons go in, like we no longer need to worry about doing like map rotation, and so that's something we're excited about.
That's very
which
nice.
is kind of ironic because I'd say like I just want to only play crypts now, and then we're gonna get rid of map rotations when the continuous dungeons goes in. But again, you know, this is the starting ground, and we're gonna start working on, you know, making it compatible with all the other biomes. But I think, you know, for people that want to do the quests and stuff, is like now you no longer need to be restricted to like, oh, I have to wait for some certain timers, and this also extends to, you know, going down or escaping, extracting, right? And so I think it's just going to make everything feel more dynamic, and that's kind of like the key word for this upcoming season is like,
Dynamic.
let's make things, bring back some of that mystery and make things dynamic again, right?
Yeah, so
And
as
then-
SDF mentioned that on top of that, with this modular,
Oh yeah,
with the design
Yep.
of the modular maps, which, you know, early on the idea was, this was always the vision of creating modules, was to be able to then put them into a pool, randomize them, and have the system put it together to create a random dungeon every time. But now SCF is
Mhm.
mentioning also that because this has been successful, based on this, we're going to be able to also randomize potentially monsters and chests and
Yeah.
additional
Damn.
things like that.
Yep.
yeah, that's the next
Yep.
step up, right? It's like,
Yep,
hey, we want
there
we
it
want
is.
to start really big to see if that felt okay. You know, again, it was an
The
experiment.
game
for
would be
us. It's
so
like,
much
oh,
harder with all of that.
we think it's
Holy.
going to be fun, but and
In
we
a good
don't know
way.
until we get in there, and we got in there. It's like, wow, okay, yeah, it's fun. That exploring aspect, adventuring aspect, is back. But then when you open the door and then you go into the module and then you're repeating your pattern again, it's like, oh, okay, and you know, it makes us want to improve little by little. Even, you know, the I guess going down one level, it's like, okay, hey, now let's think about like randomizing, you know, the spawns and stuff inside each module.
Yeah, maybe just
then-
put 12 demon berserkers on the demon altar. So if you want that skull key, you're gonna earn that skull key.
Yep. So these are, again, conversations that was difficult for us to have just even 3 weeks ago, and now we can start joking about doing this and actually do it for, you know, for real, right? Once we start getting our handle on the system. So yeah, it's pretty. I'm very, very optimistic. It's like, oh, okay, we're finally starting to build that base, the foundation that we're talking about, and this is the other thing that I do want to explain about, like, you know, Hotfix 69 was, it was very divisive, right? Is that is it had to be, the way I look at it was like, hey, this is something that was kind of a necessary evil that we had to go through. And, you know, I was like, oh, I feel so terrible that the
I said that
community
about
had to
multi-classing
endure
as
that
well.
with us. But because of going through that, it's like, oh, internally we mature so much because of that.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's like,
Kill shot, be
that
nice, bro.
actually solidified that kind of base that we're going on. And so that was something that we had to go through to start now having more hope for the future. It's like, hey, you know, we could have gone incrementally, and trying to just like kind of,
They don't know how to go incrementally, bro.
tiptoe around.
They haven't at this
So
point,
it's like,
bro.
okay, let's just crash into it head first, and it hurts. You know, everyone's like, what the hell's going on? Dazed and confused. But once we get out of that fog, it's like, oh, okay, now we know that's not the direction at all. It's like, oh, okay, but now we could, the stuff that we gleaned from that, it's like, okay, now we know what not to do, and so we have just more confidence on the way that, you know, the stuff that we wanted to do for the future. So
Yeah, so it's, I mean, it's good to hear that, you know, we're willing to kind of try those things out. I think obviously we talked a little bit about it earlier in the show that, you know, it was not received super well, but there was a purpose to it. It wasn't just kind of doing it randomly. It really was to try to get an understanding of what balance looks like in a vacuum, because both of you have mentioned before that a big focus on future updates will be to, you know, expand on the classes and give them better balance at different gear points. So the idea with patch 69 was to try to create sort of a vacuum where it was easier to predict what the power levels of the classes were, or kind of keep them
that's
closer
the
to each
old
other,
boss room,
so that
dude.
balance could be
Where
more
Lich
finely
was.
tuned around it. But even SDF said, you know, this wasn't fun to tune down the ceiling so much that it just kind of like took the fun out of looting. So it was a good experiment, and obviously, like you said, we learned a lot from it. I'm excited to see where it takes us in the future.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm starting to now run out of gas.
Run out, Steve. That's okay. I was thinking we'd probably wrap up the show fairly soon anyway, so that's perfectly fine. But I wanted to give SDF an opportunity if he had anything that he wanted to talk about before we start to close things out here. We've got just a couple quick announcements to do, but SDF, if you have any closing comments that you'd like to share, please do.
근데 그 얘기 한번 해주고 싶긴 해요, 태님. 우리가 이제 아이템을
No
왜
way.
이렇게 스키징하고 뭐 이렇게 저렇게 막 테스트를 많이
What?
하는지 그런 것들.
네.
그러니까 왜냐면 그리고 이제 우리가 왜 소켓 시스템을 만들었는지, 그러니까 우리가 제일 중요하게 생각하던 거는 이제 그 시간
Dude.
타임 커미트먼트 그 관련된 거.
예.
그런 이제 비전을 좀 설명을 해줘야 그 플레이어들이 지금까지 왜 이런 것들을 했는지 이해할 수 있는데, 제가
That's
한국어로
gonna take
설명하면
so
잘
long to
설명하겠지만
do,
영어로는
bro.
이걸 복잡해서 다 설명할 수 없기 때문에 이건 태님이 좀 설명해주면 좋을 것 같아요. 그래서 제가 기대하는 거는 제가 기대하는 거는 이제 소켓 시스템에서 물론 클로징 멘트라고 얘기했지만 우리
I didn't understand a word of that, by the way.
시스템을 잘못 사용하면 이건 이제 그냥 던전이 아무 의미가 없어질 수 있어요. 그러니까 시간이 너무 짧아지니까 모든 아이템 파밍하는 시간이. 근데 우리가 원하는 거는 아이템 파밍하는 시간이나 아이템 밸류를 0으로 만들려는 게
Holy
아니라
shit, he's spitting though.
이것들을
Whatever
좀
he's spitting, he's spitting it.
적당한 수준으로 이제 도달하게 만들고 싶었는데 지금까지 랜덤 모디파이어는 그게 너무 심했던 거죠. 그러니까 타임 커미트먼트가.
Somebody's put fucking Rap God instrumental in the background.
땡기기 위한 시스템들이 좀 필요했던 거고.
Damn, he's still
얼마나
going!
땡겨야 이 게임이 너무 헤비하지 않게 플레이어들한테 다가갈 수 있을까, 이런 것들이 고민이었던 거고. 그거를
Dude, Terrence yaps like a motherfucker. It is so long-winded. We're gonna be here an hour.
So one thing he just wanted to really make clear about, you know, the motivation for doing Hotfix 69 and doing that kind of super squeeze, and you know, just kind of like putting everyone at the same item level and going through that, and what we learned from that, and then and the, you know, the reasoning behind, you know, why we undertook that change in the first place was like, so first of all, we did kind of diagnose the issue with the current system is that the time commitment, the minimum time commitment required to, like, you know, feel like hopeful and you know, you could compete in the current system, is just, it was too high for us, right? So even us that, you know, we want to be, you know, participating in the game, it was like, but you know, we have the day job and when we're
losers reign supreme
to the game,
for sure.
and we still always felt like, hey, we couldn't keep up, and so we're like, okay, this is kind of an
even
issue,
though they kind of
because we think, like, you know, the target audience for this game is us, and we're not able to play the game because, and what's one of the main reasons that we're not able to play, you know, our own game or play well is that we want to put in the time, and we feel like we're putting in the time, but the required time the minimum required time is just still too high for us, right? And a lot of that had to do with that you know, well, we kind of misdiagnosed that it was the item gap itself, but I think it's more of the random modifiers, and so that's why we're like, oh, okay, well, let's try to squeeze things, and so that was that journey to go through that, and for us that's why solution that we came up with and that we're trying to find out is, so the first thing was like, you know, the extreme reaction was like, oh, let's just get rid of anything that's going to require a lot of time, right? And that's you know, what Hotfix 69 was kind of that violent, you know, push into that realm. And but the thing was like, hey, if you take away all of that commitment, is that then you lose a lot of that sense of accomplishment for when you do gain really good loot, right? Because everyone has the same stuff now. It's like, okay, and so so the time commitment is still a very valid and important aspect of the game. It's like now it's like trying to find that kind of good balance between like, hey, there's this drive and motivation to get good loot, but it shouldn't require me to just have a day job of playing Darker and Darker, right? And
you still want to cater to people who want to play the game all the time, but you definitely don't want it to be exclusive to the people who don't get to play 10 to 12 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of y'all get no pussy.
That's the thing. It's like, okay,
Just grind Dark and Darker all day, every day, man. Shameless.
Where we could squeeze it to a amount that we feel like we have a handle when we start introducing and
listen, married to the game, okay?
Modifying
what do you want?
The perks and skills going forward. It's like there's not all these weird like edge cases always popping up. Because now we have things in a predictable range, and I think we're getting closer to that ever since we learned from Topic 69. But at the same time, is still make it feel like, oh, okay, loot is worthwhile.
Talking to a woman or getting bis,
really
what's more difficult?
Still go and feel like, oh, okay, when I have all my well-earned BIS items, I feel that extra little bit of tension. Or when I lose it, it's like, oh, I feel a little bit of that pang,
Right.
And yeah, and so we're just now trying to find that right amount of balance, right? And I think so. The item socket is one of the ways. Is like it was way, way, way too high for us, and so we need to start bringing it down a little bit. Turn that volume down a little bit, but like, switching that volume all the way down to 0 or 1, that's not the solution.
So the socketing system is sort of a way to kind of bridge the gap there, and it's not, to be clear, it's not a way to replace the BIS chase. Like going for the best items is still, you're still gonna go into the dungeon.
Exactly. And so I really appreciate you saying like, hey, this is our initial idea. We hope that this is a way that we could still honor that kind of chase for the BIS, right? But we are still gonna, if we feel like, hey, the volume's way too high on one end, we might need to adjust those values for, or the balance of the item socket system. But the socket system in itself right now, when like you've tried it on the test server, we've been messing around with it on the test server.
What if you could buy the gems from vendors? Is it only from in dungeon?
Like, okay, yeah, I could really see myself like, okay, with the amount of time that I could commit to the game, it's like I could have pretty darn good item gear on me on this using the system. So that's the goal.
And we just got a comment from SDF in the chat who said that the next season, the arena will revert to minted gear being the only thing that you don't lose. We might still allow people to take consumables in and not lose those, even if they're not minted, just because it's annoying to replace them so often. But the socket system now being a way to help craft your gear sort of deflates that like RMT paying out the butt for a full kit,
exactly.
So I know like I probably got myself in trouble saying the word RMT, but the point being that like it felt,
I mean, that's the reality. So we don't care.
It felt a little like, I think people undersell the fact that giving people the ability to go in with their own gear, or like purchased gear at the end of the season, was really a good way for everyone to get a chance to experience arena with high level kits. But going into the next season with minted gear being the only exception, or minted gear being the only gear that you could bring in, really helps to make the gems a stopgap for players who just don't have the time investment to get the actual.
Wonder how
boots.
early
You know,
Arena is going to be
you could run 100
available.
dungeons and never find a triple on roll pair of life up boots that you need for your kit.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that we want to kind of address head on with that socket system. It's like, hey, you know, and our expectation is like gems will probably become like a commodity, right? It's like, hey, you know, so you find a gear you like, it
Unique
have,
gem
you
would be
know, it
so
doesn't have the
much
perfect
money.
rolls or it, you know, all the rolls, but it's like, hey, I could just go to the marketplace, buy a couple gems, and now I have something.
So that confirms it.
90%.
Player to player is
85%
possible
of
with gems, which
you know,
kind
what
of
I
obvious,
want
but...
with, you know, the 4 exact rolls that I want, you know. And
Right.
so that,
it's competitive at least.
yeah, exactly.
There is one more something huge, I think.
Huge.
We have achievement system now.
Oh yeah.
What?
And I think it's so good.
Yeah,
so
we didn't mention that. If you guys want to talk about the achievement system, we kind of forgot about that, to be honest.
A what?
No, I don't think it was we forgot. It was more like at the very beginning we didn't really have a plan to share it because we didn't want to spoil too much for the wipe. But
right.
Yeah,
achievement.
The achievement system is huge.
Achievement system.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's achievement system. We have account-wide quests now. So you just need.
Oh,
we're just throwing that out there, huh?
Oh, account-wide quests.
There you go, chat.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's going to be challenges with the quest system, with the random dungeons, continuous dungeons. We understand that, but even when, like, you know, random dungeons, you have, you know, certain modules you have to go to. Like, we were able to, even with the randomized, you know, for modules you have to find in the crypt. Like, we ran like simulation, like 100,000 different randomizations, and we were able to get like, oh, these are crypts. You know, we have rules for it's not pure like, hey, let's just throw any module, any combination. It's like, you know, you have to have exits, you have to have you know, sacrificial altars too. So there's different weightings, you know. Certain modules will get different weightings because of the logic itself. And so we were able to actually figure out like, oh, these are modules that almost, you know, come up with very high frequency compared to other modules. And so it's like, hey, okay, so for quest, even though there's a random element, it's like, hey, we're gonna skew it so you have a higher probability of getting a high percentage modules. That's what we designed the quest around. You know, so these are things that there's gonna be things that we miss because of the new systems, but we're gonna keep on, you know.
So much better though.
our
Who
job
cares?
As game developers,
So much better.
fixing
So
the
much more
stuff that
potential.
we kind of overlooked, right? And so that's what we're planning to do. But yeah, so we have account-wide quests. We have the achievement system. This is again the start. But then I think I was surprised because
yeah, better than expected.
and it was like, this is a start. I looked at it. I was like, our server engineer is like, he came to us. He's like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna get all of this done by the white. And we're like, okay, just get as much as you could do, you know. Even if we get like, we'll start off, even if it's 10%, we just want the achievement system out there. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna do my best. And then today he's like, oh, we're running out of time. It's like,
one guy.
I couldn't.
Let's go,
you know,
one guy.
We're trying to get down to like, you know, reducing people adding in new stuff right to our repository right now. It's like, oh, I wasn't able to finish my, you know, all the achievements. I only got 170. We're like, what?
170 achievements.
Wait, how many are
That's a
there?
lot, bro.
Only. Wow.
only, yeah. So, yeah, and so it goes back to like, you know, there's a different category of type of people that we're trying to give satisfaction. So the last one we left out right now is the socializers, and we know that there's a big gaping hole for that, and so unfortunately we don't have any big news for this wipe, but I think because of that there's that lit a fire under our ass, right, to say like, okay, let's start really working, or start thinking about how we could make a feature to start people on that end can start delving into.
Right, to start giving the more social players. I mean, one of the biggest strengths of Darker Darker in the playtests was when VoIP got added, and we had all these like really silly interactions of people just exploring the dungeon together. Quick shout out to folks in the community who've done some really fun things, like having their own shop set up. I remember Tiny Shop. Tiny Shop was one of my favorite things. Like we were all very sad to see that go, but it was an unfortunate thing that had to get fixed. But yeah, the social aspect of this game is a huge part of it, and I think people who want more of that will be very happy to hear that that is something that we're going to be focusing on soon.
I can't believe this is really happening.
Yeah, exactly. So now for reals, I'm running out. It's like 4:30 now.
All right, so we'll cut you guys loose.
You don't want to ruin Christmas. Come on.
Yeah, let's get some sleep.
We're opening too many presents.
Nobody. Let's not have you guys get sick right before Wipe Week from staying up too late in the morning either. Get you sleep. We really appreciate you guys coming on the show. This wasn't planned, FYI. In the future episodes, guys, we will most likely have them on, and potentially even other members of Ironmace. But for the first episode, we were kind of keeping it a little low key. So again, thank you, SEF and Terry, for coming on. Really appreciate that. We'll cut you loose. Any closing comments before you go?
Thank you, players.
Yes, thank you.
We love you guys, Lily.
Don't mention it, bro. It's okay. You don't need to say that.
Pray for us for winning the court.
Oh, hell yeah. Guys,
on the 17th,
you need to pray, bro. December 17th.
Court hearing.
Right.
Yeah. But again, I can't say much, but I will say we're confident. So.
Yeah, give your Chad Terror Bear, bro.
Yeah, hold the line.
Hold the line,
Yes,
boys.
sir. Hold the
So
line.
much for that. I mean, that kind of moral support was just, it's indescribable. So, yes.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much, guys, for coming on. We'll let you go, and we're looking forward to the next episode of this. In the meantime, we do have 2 more announcements to give you guys. A couple exciting things, actually, we'll share real quick. And I apologize that we were just kind of looping the clips that we had here because I didn't have time to set up an overlay for them to join us on Discord. So this was just sort of an impromptu. So we're going to cut over to another special announcement that our community team has been working on, and we'll load up a little clip for you guys to see here.
All right. I'm going to head out, but good night, everyone.
Thank you guys so much.
Night, Terror Bear. Good night, bro.
Yeah, bye.
Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right, it's just Grayson and I. Let's take a quick look. I think I hear a little something.
Oh, shit. Santa!
Mysterious figure.
What day was that?
What day was that? I don't know. There seems to be a dagger in the board there. I think something might have gotten updated on the Discord. I don't know. I don't know too much about this, but maybe Grayson, you want to talk to me about what's going on here?
Yeah. So actually, Wesley started off with
Turn down!
A huge thank you to all of our community supporters, such as the Warden team, the Night team.
Turn it down!
You guys do so much heavy lifting for us, and we appreciate it so much. And honestly, all those areas would be impossible without you guys. So thank you all very much, especially to the Warden team who's been there since the very beginning. Thank you guys very much. And congratulations to all the new Tavern Masters that will be changing over this weekend. It's going to be awesome. But moving into that, the community team at Ironmace has been hard at work, and you guys are about to see it. I will just go ahead and do this little hype up. It is the biggest event we have ever done for the community at Darker Darker, and it is so awesome.
Okay, last one. I'm
We
going
got
to
a
say
lot
it
of
was
good
lame,
feedback from the
so.
last recent Halloween event, and we used all that feedback to create what I would call a masterpiece for the community. The community team members have been working so hard to make these next few weeks really, really awesome. I promise you
Okay.
guys, I'm not overhyping this. If you participate in this, by the end of it, either you all win or you all lose.
Ooh, setting the stakes really high.
It's worth it.
Setting the stakes very high. Did you hear that, guys? Everybody wins or everybody loses. That means this is a group community effort. We're excited to see what you guys end up doing with this. And shout out, yeah, like you mentioned, to the community team who's been working on this. I specifically, I know that Faseb and Chunkus have been hard at work on this, helping you with it as well. And a lot of work has gone into making this.
And it is.
I know a lot about how it's going to go, and I'm really excited to see the community sort of uncover it as we go along. So, yeah, keep an eye on the Discord.
Huge shout out to Festive and Chunkus for making this happen.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
What
on
is
Discord,
this?
because there will be updates regarding roles and channels for people to get involved in the event, and we will need everybody's help to make this happen as a community. So don't skip out. Make sure you lend a hand, because we're gonna need all your brains.
I think the Sorcerer channel just popped up in the Discord too earlier.
Ooh, I had a wipe. Everybody want to get a little chit chat going on in there? All right, well, there's everything we had to show you guys for now. We appreciate you guys tuning in. There's one final announcement I'd like to give, and that is for our content creators. We're announcing the launch of Lurk It as a platform for our content creators. Now, previously we were using just Google Forms and Discord channels to manage everybody, and there wasn't a lot of robust metric counting, and there weren't really ways for us to do announcements or run any cool campaigns or anything like that, missions, fun things for creators to do. So Lurk It will be the new home for our creators. There will be a
Lurk It, let me jerk
link
it. I don't know
posted
why I
in the
said
Discord
that. I'm so
later
sorry.
once the page is published, and everybody can sign up over there. Even if you are currently a content creator, make sure you go ahead and sign up over there so we can get you ingested into the creator program on that side, and look forward to more stuff happening with that in the future. But that is it for us for the Tavern Table.
What is this though? What am I looking at?
This was a very fun time, and we look forward to doing more of these. Thank you, Grayson. Appreciate your time. Anything you want to say?
I just want to let you know, man, you did a really, really great job carrying this first pilot episode of the Tavern Table.
Odin did do a good job
really long
directing
week.
stuff. He did.
It started at 3 a.m., so I lost my train of thought several times. And
Grayson is also in Korea.
You did really, really awesome. I'm really
I
glad
forgot
that you
about
ran
that,
this.
actually.
I appreciate that. Part of never shutting up is that, I've always got something to say. So I'm here to pick it up when people are tired. So I really, again, thank you guys for showing up, and shout out to Terry and SCF for being here so late on a Saturday morning. It is 4 a.m. for you guys. It's getting ridiculous. So without
yeah, it hit me mid-show for sure.
We're gonna talk about the pod after
thank you
it's
again
done.
to our community members and our
Full
players.
detail.
We really appreciate you guys, and we're really looking forward to a new wipe. Keep an eye out for the Lurk It announcement for creators who are interested in signing up for the program, and for the roles being updated in the Discord for the Christmas event. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.
All right, guys. See you all.
All right. Okay. So, we need to... Please, God, tell me they have past broadcasts on. Bro. Ah! Okay. All good. All good. I'll just go back in my own channel. Then I'll just... Okay, that guy needs to shut up. Okay. So we'll just go back... Okay, I'm just gonna mute as well so you don't hear like fucking 5 of me or whatever. Okay, boys. So I'm gonna let this shit just kind of play, and then we're gonna talk. Okay, so first thing, let's gauge the community. Okay, do you guys think W or L? What are you guys thinking? It might be like a recency bias coming off the high of that. I am gonna say W. I think this was really, really good. It was really, really good. I think what my anticipation, I would say, before the podcast, if I had to say my my rating of hype pre-wipe, it was probably like a 6. It was probably, there's a poll. You guys ever fucking vote on polls? But yeah, there's a poll if you guys want to vote. Yeah, I would say, I was thinking this next wipe would be like a 6, maybe a 7 out of 10. Right now, it's looking like a 7, maybe an 8. Maybe an 8. I'm not sure if we'll reach that. I'm not sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Everything looks really good. Like, dude, when we're just like looking over Sorcerer here and everything, like, holy shit, it looks nice, bro. Sorcerer looks fluid. It looks skill expressive. It looks unique. I will say, here's the thing. If you have not seen Dark and Darker for a year and you were just like watching what is on the screen here, okay? Like, let me go back for a second, okay? You're just looking at this. This is all you're seeing. You probably think it's Wizard, right? You probably think you're literally just watching an updated version of Wizard, probably. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of see not very many people playing Wizard after this, and like maybe that's to be expected. Probably like the wipe after, maybe we'll see some like even more difference between the two. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about with Sorcerer.
Thank you for playing.
Also, I also have to thank all the subs and follows, boys. I'm sorry, we're really far behind on that stuff. So, Sig Note, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs, man. You are incredibly kind and enormously well endowed. Thank you. I'll go through every sub and follow once we're done talking about this stuff. So there's a couple things here you can notice. So since he's using his hands, bro, he does not have a weapon equipped. He is moving at full move speed. He does not have the weapon in his hand penalty or what seems to be a casting slow speed penalty. There does not seem to be either of these things prevalent. So it does not look like he is getting slowed at all casting these spells, bro. It doesn't really look like it. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Maybe it's like more of like a feel thing or something. But he is just slinging spells and looking damn good doing it. Like, these animations and these effects look really, really cool. He seems to be, from what I could see, more of a sustain type of damage, right? He seems to kind of be more sustained damage over, something like Burst with Wizard, I guess. They do still look similar, though. And in my opinion, from what I've seen, they do look similar. If we could get, so there's a couple spells here that look really cool. Being able to, like, blow back like a mob or a player that's charging at you seems really fucking cool. This is like a little fireball that kind of shoots out like a spread AoE. That could be really good for people who are grouped. That's the wind knockback, which this seems really cool. This seems like an insane spell that you could use to create even more space. So this guy might be like the spacing extraordinaire because he doesn't get slowed from casting spells or having a weapon equipped in his hand. He did equip a falchion earlier, which looked like it had a similar effect to Ignite, but it was like an ice version of that. And then the meteor, I'm imagining if this hits, it probably does quite a bit of damage. It is super, super slow. It looks really cool, though. It looks like a literal sun getting fucking thrown. So there's also another one here that I think is really cool. So he's combining what I believe to be some sort of fire spell and then also that wind blowback. And then so it creates this kind of like fire wall. This guy to me looks like the spacing god character. Like, if you cast that in a doorway, like if you guys have ever fought, like, near the, like the top of goblin caves where they have like the flame sprouts or whatever, that's like one of the most like annoying, not necessarily like bad in a way, but like just like you don't want to ever go through that fire, like ever. That shit fucking hurts. So if you could like cast this in a doorway or even cast it vertically, because I think there was an option for him to like position the fucking wall or whatever. So maybe you're able to like turn it and angle it, and then you could perhaps, like do it in like a straight hallway and shit. I think this guy is going to have a shit ton of skill expression. Speaking of skill expression, where's the other fucking spell here? Dude, oh my god. This wall is probably going to be one of the biggest things that's going to determine a good and bad sorcerer. Like, the navigation that you could have around the dungeon, the sight lines that you can block, that shit is fucking crazy, man. Like, this guy looks really cool. He looks really cool. I would imagine at wipe start, like, I'm going to be playing it, you're going to be playing it, everyone's going to be playing Sorcerer, bro. He looks a lot further along than I was expecting to, because the way that they were wording it, it almost sounded like he was just going to be a little bit further along than what we saw Warlock being at, at the first time that we saw it, you know. But this, it actually looks like it's pretty far along, you know what I mean? So we'll see. Obviously, we don't know his stat breakdowns or anything. Odin did confirm that what we're seeing is Squire gear, okay? Odin did say that. The footage that you're seeing is Sorcerer and Squire gear. So, you know, it's kind of hard to get an understanding of, like, necessarily how he'll scale with gear. Will he be tankier than a wizard? Well, you know, like, I guess we'll have to see, right? Some of the other spells, too, that he had here. He does have a summon as well. Here's him casting, like, the water orb and the fire orb. He can summon, like, a stone golem guy. I don't think that spell's, like, super exciting or whatever, you know? It's basically a treant. It's pretty much the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? But maybe he has, like, some sort of unique things. I guess he's doing a ranged attack here. He might actually only do a ranged attack, because you think that he would have did a melee attack with the zombie that close. But it looks like he's just busting out. He's just busting out that fucking boulder right away, bro. Holy shit. That's a pretty good aim. I wonder if the boulder can hit you. I do wonder, bro. I do wonder if the boulder could hit you. That'd be funny. It'd be kind of... I wonder if this is elemental, too. Do you think this changes per surface? Like, if you cast this in water, is it a water elemental? No way, right? Like, no way, right? But that would be cool. He casted fire, cast like a fire one that hurls a fireball. But there's no way that's how it'd be. And then you can obviously see that he has his own version of Ignite. Where I don't think this is like conjuring, you know, like it's not like a bound weapon from like Oblivion or something. I think he just happens to have a falchion equipped, and then whenever he you know, pulls it out after casting what is essentially the frost equivalent of Ignite, you know, now obviously the sword is covered in frost and looks pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I do wonder how he scales in terms of his spells, because he's not getting the weapon bonus, right? He's not getting any additional weapon damage or whatever from casting his spells, because he has technically no weapon equipped. Or maybe he does. Maybe like the hands are a weapon somehow. But check the community announcement. Okay. Nicholas needs your help. All right, let's see here. Because it's the same video we watched, unless there's something at the end. No access. Oh, you just gotta like sign up or something. Okay, whatever. There's not no point checking that. You know, there wasn't anything about... There's no point checking that. Motherfuckers. Anyway. We'll see. W announcement. Who's the private message from? My husband. Love that guy. And then there's a couple other things that I also want to talk about. We'll just kind of like let this the B-roll play here. Dude, there's a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about, dude. The water map, they said, is 90% water. 90% water. That's insane. I can't really get an understanding of what the swimming mechanic would be if 90% of the map is water. That's crazy. That's almost like doesn't even make sense type shit, you know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But the new map looks cool. Like, you know, it's on like a fucking pirate ship, and then I guess you go down into like the broken water. I don't know what the map's evolution will be, because, you know, it wouldn't be the water rising. But I don't know. Reminds me of that fucking that level from Mario, Super Mario 64 with the eel under or whatever. I'm thinking it has to be one of two bosses, bro. It has to be one of two bosses. It's either going to be a Kraken or it's going to be the fucking Blackbeard pirate. It'll be one of the two. One of the two, bro. God damn, that'll be pretty fucking cool. That looked exciting. But hard to say, right? The thing that I'm the most excited about, like without a doubt, we are finally seeing the world evolve again. The game is having its world evolved. I think this is like an amazing change. Even in this clip, you can already see. So, for example, there's normally a staircase here. You know, now there is not. Now you have to use some sort of like movement tech here to get up into here. And then once you do get up here, bro, that's not normally the module that it connects to. So I think the thing that is going to make the game like kind of have more interest for even people who don't even play it that much is that it's going to be way more difficult to just get bored of the game. It's going to be way more difficult. There's just like every match is going to be different. I think the game getting optimized to death was like kind of one of the main reasons that the game started to fall off a bit. So I really like this. It adds fear back into the dungeon. It adds uncertainty. And then there's also something very, very, very important to discuss when it comes to the random modules, bro. I'm going to wait for the ad to finish, bro. So they talked about how not every module is going to necessarily connect in an optimal way. In my opinion, this is incredible. So this, I think, by default, just makes the game substantially improved, okay? Because one of the things that I feel like was kind of prevented from like the gameplay loop before was exploring. Your exploration was gimped. Especially like if you just knew anything, if you just had anything memorized, your exploration was gimped because you knew exactly what to do at all times. If you got something, you know, it didn't feel like you had to like sacrifice anything to try to escape. You knew exactly where that escape was, bro. You knew exactly where that escape was, bro. You would wait for that blue static after you killed a geared guy, and then you're out of there, bro. You're out of there. It's gone. You're okay. You got your shit. Now, to succeed, you have to risk more, which I think is a fantastic thing. You know, it might make it a little bit harder for players starting out or whatever, but like, I mean, that's why we all kind of started playing this game. You know, nobody plays this game to have an easy fucking experience necessarily. So I really like that you have to continue to explore the dungeon. You have to go into areas that are uncertain to escape. Normally, you would do the opposite, bro, right? Normally, you would go back. Oh, what a great segue. God damn. You'd have to go back to areas that you already, like, you know, claimed before, which you could still do that with how you're seeing in the modules here, right? However, like, you know, you might have to, like, oh, shit, I spawned in this area. I've cleared all the fog of war to, like, the northwest, and I still haven't found that exit, but I've killed a guy. So now I have to go back and retreat. Obviously, it'll make spawn rushing less prevalent as well. To me, this is amazing. It's amazing. And listen, it even makes the way that I play the game more inconvenient, right? Obviously, the more that I can optimize fighting 1v2 and 1v3 and kiting teams, right, is better for me. So this is even something that would make the game more difficult for 1vx. And even I'm all aboard with shit like this. This looks incredible. Looks awesome. So I'm really excited about that. Now, the other thing that's like really interesting is we didn't really get to learn what Sorcerer does when they're on cooldown, except they just cast more spells is what it looks like. So if you look here, like whenever like, you know, Sorcerer footage is playing, like it never looks like he's not able to cast a useful spell. He's always casting something. So it looks like he has a shit ton of spells to go off of. There, you could debate, and again, keep in mind, okay, this could be a dev build where they've just disabled UI, okay? But if you guys don't know, if you hold down Shift and /, it lets you turn off the UI, okay? It lets you turn off the UI. So when you turn off the UI, you also cannot change spells as well. You can't change spells while your UI is turned off, unless they very recently made that change. I'm pretty sure they didn't. So you could debate, in theory here, unless this is just some unique dev build, Sorcerer may not have a spell wheel. Don't get me wrong, though. I think he will, okay? I think he will, and this is probably just a dev build to show things off. Yes, but there is a chance. There is a chance that they... No, even before... Again, they might have changed that. They might have changed that, okay? But before, like, I'm talking like 3-4 months ago, if you disabled HUD, you could not change your spells, unless that's a recent change. But anyway, so there is a chance that he's not spell wheel, but don't, like, if I had to put my money on it, I would say he's probably spell wheel. He probably is, but who knows? We'll see. But he's probably spell wheel. Yeah, so he doesn't have cooldowns, but it looks like, he's a pure cooldown, unlimited spell count class, but he has cooldowns is how I guess the balancing is surrounding him. But yeah, it looks like he can always just cast a different spell. So it doesn't look like there's a cooldown between, hey, you casted a spell, you gotta wait 5 seconds to cast any other spell. It's just a cooldown between casting a unique spell, which is pretty cool. Yeah, okay, so also the map's not connecting. So here's another thing for the random modules. Dude, you could go down like a 3-minute W key of a corridor and you might not find an exit. I find that so cool. I think that's cool. I mean, I know a lot of people won't like that because it might lead to them just getting griefed by bad RNG. But again, I think anything that kind of creates more exploration, like you're in an actual dungeon, I think is cool. It's actual adventuring. It's actual exploring. I know people will be pissed that, they'll get a dead end at a terrible time, but fuck you, you'll just queue up again, bro. You'll just queue up again. I think never knowing what happens, like Animosity's saying, I think never knowing for sure what's going to happen is amazing. I think having the blue statics, I don't know if it's necessarily was a good or a bad choice in the game design or whatever, but it just added too much security and too much safety. So I like that you're not guaranteed anything in this game. I like that. No guarantee of nothing, bro. I think it's a way better game design for it. And it'll make winning feel even better too. When you do find that exit, when you find that fucking god item or you killed a super juiced player and you do find that exit, oh my god, it'll feel so good. If everything's implemented correctly. Socketing looks really good. Probably the only negative thing that I will say about socketing is I think you should only be able to, at least just initially, maybe I could be wrong. Oh, I accidentally showed my cheats. Unlucky. So I don't know if you should be able to socket multiple times on the same item. I don't know about that. Probably got to play with that before I obviously have a secure opinion. But I feel like you should maybe only be able to socket once per item. Maybe. In the preview, I don't know when they'll show it next. Let's see. Sorcerer, water map. Okay, here you go. So during the socketing, he's able to, he put one in here and then he put one in here as well. So not sure how I feel about that. I think just one would be good enough, but we'll see. Also, holy shit, how much is a unique gem gonna be worth? It is gonna be worth a metric assload. Also, how often are we gonna be able to find these? Who fucking knows, dude? Who knows? I imagine they would boost the loot chance for these gems, but that's like a whole other thing of how often you'll actually find the gems themselves. It looks like a really cool implementation of it, though. I'm super excited about it. It does look very, very good, and our boy the Goldsmith is looking fucking hella sick. He's popping off. Got a little bit of chubby cheek action, but that's okay. He has a little party hat. He's kind of owning. So we'll see how she goes. Yeah, I don't think there's too much I'm concerned about other than being able to rock tons of gems on a single item. But then again, that just increase your cost. So we'll see it. And again, I think the other thing that makes the gems really cool is you are now going to have a sense of dopamine when you find a gem, dude. It's going to make, again, looking for treasure exciting. That's good. You find, when you're just looking for treasure, not just gear, treasure now, there's going to elicit that feeling of dopamine, which I think is really good. I think that. And I think another thing to go back, I'm just reading through the little notes that I've read here, which is kind of why we're going back and forth on topics. Okay. What is probably one of the worst things in Dark and Darker, right? Okay, I'll share my opinion. You guys, everybody will have a different answer for that. But one of the worst things for me is when I load into a match and I know that I'm by myself. I know I'm by myself, and I'm in this match, and like there's no variation, and there's no nothing. It's just the same shit every single game, and I'm by myself. Hate that. Can't stand that feeling. Probably my least favorite thing in the game. So at least with like the random modules, listen, I don't know how like good SDF is at the game. I would like to think he's at least a decently competent player. People always think devs are just terrible at the games they play. I'm gonna hope that he's at least pretty decent at the game. He said he used to play like CS at a high level or something. So he said that he was having trouble extracting. So I kind of like that even though like you might load in and there might not be a threat of a player, the dungeon is actually going to be a threat again. Boys, for us who have been playing this game since playtest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when was the last time the dungeon was a threat? Come on. It's been forever. It's been forever since the dungeon was a threat and was interesting. So that's why I am like really, really excited. SDF did say that he personally does not really like the randomized modules. However, boys, I think this is a good thing, okay? Because what he admitted in that moment is that he is willing to accept something in the game that maybe he doesn't like. I don't think that was the case before, boys. He was pretty stubborn. He was pretty adamant about his vision of the game. So I think we're actually seeing him grow in a way that he's willing to perhaps experiment with features that maybe he personally doesn't like, but is better for the game's overall health and development, which to me is a massive W. Yeah, I remember, dude, this is his fucking baby, bro. This is his baby that was almost going to get taken away from him. So, it takes a lot to do that. I know people have their own opinions on that whole shebang or whatever, but I think that's great. I'm really happy to see that. Now, today was a massive W. Today was a massive, astronomical W. However, there's one thing that has me a little hesitant, okay? And that is the backfilling. I have to admit this. Hello, dude. I'm not sure how I feel about it, okay? So let me say, everything that is here has surpassed my expectations, okay? Oh, sorry, okay. So what I mean by backfilling is like you load into an existent match. Sorry, you guys are going to think I'm talking about some butt stuff or something, okay? That's the thing. You load into a potentially pre-existing match. That's the only thing. There's so many questions and concerns that I have about that. Probably mainly in the sense of once players, because listen, boys, okay, let's be honest. This community is a great community. Dark and Darker is insanely passionate, but there's a lot of motherfuckers who are definitely borderlining, pure degeneracy. There is going to be players who are going to figure out how to spawn camp. They'll say that they have the solution. Listen, every game that has respawn or load-in mechanics has these issues. Every game. You can't escape it, So that's probably my biggest concern. What happens when players start to understand the way that the dungeon is cooking? Yes, the modules are randomized. Yes, I'm sure it'll be hard to figure out, but there is going to be people who will figure it out, right? It's undeniable. So that's the only thing, and I'm not sure how I feel about loading into a match that's already existing, especially if I'm going in there to set up and wipe a squad or something. You know what I mean? Just for my own takes or opinions. But I am willing to risk all of that because it gets rid of fucking map rotation. Oh my god. Fuck map rotation. I understand it was a necessary evil. I get that. But I'm very happy to see that it's going to be, diminished or non-existent, basically, once the wipe comes around. So that's really good. And then I also really like the fact that it seems to be that we can, queue on ruins and then pretty much come down to the crypt right away, right? I think the vast majority of us are just going to sprint into the crypt as fast as we possibly can, you know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. I'm super, super excited for that. Also, if you guys don't know, we are hosting a tournament. Thank God I delayed the tournament. There was some of you guys who were like, I'll just do the tournament in December. Holy shit, happy I didn't listen to you guys. So, dude, we're going to have the tournament that's going to be on January 11th, which is going to be almost a month, about 3 weeks after the wipe. Again, I'll show you guys where we're at right now for the prize pool. We are already over $3,000 raised, so any donations go towards the tournament right now. We're already over $3,000 raised. I think that's going to be cool as fuck about the tournament is it is going to have Sorcerer and randomized modules! Oh my god! Oh my god, Fog of War with people competing on randomized modules? Holy shit! It is going to be incredible, bro. It's going to be insane. I seriously cannot wait for it. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to try to create an incentive, okay? I'm going to try to create an incentive to force people into the crypt, okay? I don't know what that's going to be yet. We can't make it so only kills count on the crypt because then it causes like issues and statistics. People are going to report false scores, not even intentionally, just because streamers are stupid, myself included. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? But, dude, I gotta say, man, fat fucking W today. Fat fucking W. Listen, there wasn't necessarily a ton of things that were, like, unknown, right? There wasn't anything crazy new in terms of things that they didn't already announce before. But, man, everything looks super good. Like, Sorcerer looks super fluid. He looks skill expressive. Like even the new map, while we don't have that right now, it looks nice, man. Like, you look at this and you're like, cool. This, I can tell this is Dark and Darker. It looks unique. It still has the presence and the atmosphere of Dark and Darker. But again, the 90% underwater is going to be the only thing. Yeah, and again, who knows how... There's so many things I want to discuss when it comes to Sorcerer. Holy shit, I'm going to be playing Sorcerer day one. I'm sure every single one of you guys are damn near close is going to be. At least, like, I would imagine half the fucking player base on day one. Maybe after that, people will go back to their normal guys, but we'll see. Dude, the fact that he doesn't need to have a weapon, and what looks like he does not get slowed while casting... Again, like, if you look how fast he's moving while he is not getting the cast slowdown, bro. He is not, man. Like, he is moving when he is casting, dude. We will see. We will see. Oh my god. Dude, I don't know. When we asked W or L, I saw like 90% of you guys say W. Okay, so I'm going to ask again, okay? We asked this, okay? We asked this question at the start, before the podcast, okay? I asked you guys, what do you think the peak player count will be for the new wipe? Okay? Pretty much the overall consensus was sub 30,000. That was definitely the consensus. You guys were saying 25, like 22, 27. And right now I can already tell it's gone up. It's gone up. It's gone up a bit, boys. It's gone up a bit. It's gone up a bit. I don't think we're going to break the 50K. I don't think so. But this looks exactly like the direction the game needed to go. Bring back the fear. Bring back the adventuring. Listen, I know some people like it when the game is extremely optimized and all this stuff. Listen, I don't think any of us downloaded this game for the first time for the PvP optimization, the knowing of everything, how to farm money right off the top as quick as possible, and you know, all that type of shit. We downloaded and started playing this game because it looked like something different where you could adventure in the dungeon against fucking players and mobs alike, not having any, you know, idea really of security. You know, there was no option of security. Everything was a mystery. And this really looks like it's driving the game back into that full force, which is really, really cool. And yeah, I'll die on this hill. Yeah, Dark and Darker is not an esport. It's not a competitive game, and I don't think it ever should be. I know that I've hosted 3 tournaments and we're hosting another, okay? So I know, like, it sounds a little contradictory, you know, but, like, listen, okay? Listen, okay? At least the tournaments are solo permadeath type stuff, you know what I mean? So it's fun, it's interesting, there's a storyline, you know, that type of shit. Oh, holy shit, perfect segue. Dude, the randomized dungeons also creates an even better storyline every single match, boys. Every match will have a unique story to be told. When was the last time that shit happened in the dungeon? Playtests? Start of early access? Again, after that, you knew the ending. Every ending was known. Now, with the mystery being back, there's a story to be told. Every single match, bro. Oh my god, I'm fucking horny as hell. God damn, bro. God damn. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of the random modules. Holy shit, bro. God damn. We'll see. And again, I don't know how to necessarily, like, take it. But yeah, SDF was saying that he was struggling to extract. I see that as a good thing. I know a lot of people, like, see devs as, like, you know, they don't even understand how to play their own game, but, like, I see that as, like, a good thing at the start. You know, that lets me know that, like, someone who's a veteran is not going to be able to, you know, just come in and, like, immediately dominate the crypt. I guess if you want to get early money, you just fucking go play Goblin Caves and farm the troll like usual, but still. You know, I'm going to be in Crypt, and I hope you guys are in there too, bro. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping just as a community, we all just fucking send it into the Crypt. You know, I think we have to go through ruins to do so, you know, but still, that's all I'm going to be doing. All I'm going to be doing come wipe is just playing on Crypt and Inferno, of course, but yeah. God damn, bro. God damn. This is going to be so much fun, bro. Holy shit. Dude, I can tell you, too, like, so many of us are going to load in. We're going to start fighting. We'll start fighting in, like, a very specific module, right? We'll start fighting in, like, I don't know, whatever module you want to say. And then, like, Pyramid Room. And then you try kiting back to, like, where you think another room is. And it's a completely different room entirely. And you know what you're going to feel in that moment? Panic. Fear. But most importantly, excitement. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Holy shit, it's gonna be so much fun if it's working well. If it is actually working as intended, as they described, god damn, that's gonna be so cool. Holy shit. Yeah, I seriously will say, I think I was looking at before the podcast today, I was looking at the new wipe as like a 6 out of 10. I think right now I'm looking at it as like an 8 right now. If everything, you know, meets as described. You know what I mean? Will the new wipe make me a full-time streamer? Oh, yeah, dude. I was like, you know, gonna bump it up to, you know, maybe like a 7-hour stream here and there. The plan is to stream a shit ton, of course, at the new wipe. It's hard to now, bro. It's hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no one in my damn lobbies right now, man. What do you want me to do? Yeah, we'll see. The Source RP character. I do have my Sorcerer name picked out already. I'm obviously not going to say it because then somebody's going to take it. And then, dude, I'm already whipping up RP stuff for sure with Sorcerer, dude, with his spells and stuff. I mean, come on. You can do some crazy shit with that. Seriously, Sorcy. No, see, you guys have terrible names, bro. You guys have terrible names. Speaking of terrible names, Ironmace XX_ Ironmace XX. Holy shit, man. Holy shit. God damn, dude. Fucking hell.